Periscope. Good morning. 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 Let me see a couple of people. Where you guys from? I see some of you just joining. Hope your day is going great. Looking forward to a good scope today. Just give a chance for a few people to get on. Good morning. Just say hi. Let us know that you're on. Say hi. And of course, as we get ready to start, we're on day 12 of Growing Forward. If you don't mind, go ahead and invite a few people to join us. Swipe left or swipe down, depending on if you have that Android or if you have your iPhone. And today, good morning. Hi. Glad to have you on. Thank you for the hearts. Hearts are like amens. You know, if you hear anything that you like or if you anticipate it, a couple of hearts doesn't hurt. Just kind of let us know that you are learning and gleaning from, particularly these scopes. These are learning scopes. We maybe do some personal scopes later, but these scopes are really designed to help us all grow and move forward. Thank you for that invite. I see Ms. Portia making some invites there. Let me go ahead and get started. Let me jump right into it. As you see today, I'm actually doing our scope from our sanctuary. This is the 318 Hall Street Worship Edifice. This is where we meet God. And today, day 12 for us is it really a scope on spiritual practices. And I thought it proper probably to do it here because this is one of the places that we have deemed spiritual. If not this sanctuary, maybe some sanctuary somewhere. You've really come to agree that God meets you there. Well, today, as we talk about spiritual practices, I want to kind of give maybe 5 things that'll just enhance what is your spiritual practice. And let me be clear, you will need to practice. No one is perfect. We talked about it in the last scope. No one gets things right immediately or the first time you try it. And so you really want to engage in what is spiritual practice. Don't pray one time and then give up on God because he didn't answer when you wanted him to. Don't read, a few scriptures and be confused or frustrated because you don't make sense of it and you don't understand it and then decide to stop reading. Don't go to one church or go to one church for one service and something happened that you don't like and then you decide to just discredit all churches or all church people or all Christians or all worship. No, it's practice. You got to do it over and over and over again. Some people are against religion, but that's kind of the core of religion. You don't have any strong relationships without the rigor of repetition and religion. And today I want to just kind of live 5 basic principles. Many of them you already know, so they'll probably be a reminder for you. It is Friday on this day 12 of Growing Forward, and so you should be fasting. We tried to give you a heads up this week. Last week it was a quick fast. This week you kind of had at least a 24-hour notice from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Water, fruits, and veggies. If you're already in the midday and you had lunch, just start from here. Start from now. Because the goal isn't really to just change a diet. The goal is to create an awareness of you and God. It's when you reach for the donut or the coffee. It's when you reach for the donut or the coffee or you go to get the sandwich or you grab the meat that you're conscious that, hey, you know what? Today I'm fasting. And when you have that quick reflective moment, it causes you to consider and think about God. So don't just change your diet, change your discipline. Pray a little more today. Read a few more scriptures a day. Call a couple of people that you know will have a spiritual word for you, different from some of your ordinary friends and coworkers. Because the goal in fasting is, of course, to draw you closer to God. The key is fasting is not the only spiritual discipline. And so I want to talk about a few more as we go forward and understand practice is necessary for everyone. If I haven't said that enough, athletes practice, people who are in the arts practice, movie stars and stage play actors and actresses, they practice. Doctors and lawyers, they practice. And if you notice, you always put in more practice time than you do game time. Playing sports, football, for instance, they'll practice Monday through Friday. That's 5 days of practice for a 3-hour game. Basketball, they'll practice every day, off season and preseason, just for a few games in a season. Maybe you're going to sing. You have rehearsals twice, maybe 3 times a week for the one time that you're actually going to perform or sing or minister or serve. You always practice more than you perform. And if that's true, then even in our spiritual life, we've got to practice a lot more than we are just expecting God to keep showing up and, thinking that you can jump out of your pew and get saved, walk down the aisle, and become a super saint. It doesn't quite work that way. In order to really draw closer to God and get closer and become more spiritual, then you want to practice. Here are a couple of ways you do it. One, you can practice by learning how to spend time alone. It's Richard Foster who says that there is a discipline of solitude and silence. You know why that's important? Glad you made that broadcast. We're glad you made it on. Listen, there's a discipline of solitude and silence. You know why that's important? It's important because if he calls it a discipline, then he's saying it's something that we just don't do ordinarily. That's what disciplines are. When you discipline yourself to do something, it is you or making someone, forcing them to do something that's not normal. And honestly, no matter who you are, even if you like to be alone, there's a discipline to learning how to be silent and alone. We talked about it a couple weeks back, but a couple scopes back. You got to be able to enjoy you. You have to be willing to enjoy you. And one of the greatest things that happens in our spiritual discipline is the alone time. For some of you, it's devotional time. For others of you, it may be in the car on your way to work time. For others, it may be actually setting aside some time while you're actually at home, or maybe once you get to work, taking a few moments to yourself. But one great spiritual discipline is your ability to just sit still and silent. Now, for many of you, if you're just starting, it's going to be a little awkward. It's going to feel funny at first, just being still or standing where there is no noise. For instance, watch this. That may have been 3 seconds, but many of you are trying to figure out if your phone had frozen or if the video has stopped, because we don't like to sit alone. We don't like to have those moments. And one thing you will find is that while God can come in loud voices and loud worship services, he could show up in loudly sung songs and greatly choreographed dances that you hear music to. God also shows up in the small, still voice. So make sure that you find some time where you can sit alone. Another spiritual discipline that we want to put into practice is some daily routine of spiritual study. We watch a lot of movies. We listen to a lot of music. We talk to a lot of people. And since that's the case, there ought to be some daily routine that counters all of the negativity and the cynicism that we experience, everything that is against God that we cannot get away from, that we hear and have to deal with. There has to be something daily that you intentionally deposit that's going to be positive. Give us this day our daily bread. Pray without ceasing. These are all concepts that suggest that you can't take a break from your spiritual life, but there has to be something consistent. So build a routine. When will you read your Bible? When will you listen to music? Build a routine. Make an appointment. Do it in the same place. One of the things we talk about is how God meets us in places. Set an appointment with him. Identify a place in your house, a place on your job, a room, and say, this is going to be it. That's right. Consistency is key. If you were running full speed, sprinting, and then you fell down, you don't get back up and start running at the same speed that you fell down at. No. When you fall down, you have to kind of pick your speed back up, accelerate again, catch up to where you were. So it is with your spiritual life. It's difficult to have engaged God 5 days or 6 days, take the weekend off, and then decide that Monday you can be right back where you started. Or really, that happens for us in the reverse. We come Sunday, or maybe Wednesday and Sunday, and take off the rest of the week and think that when we show up Sunday, we're back at where we fell or where we stopped. No. There has to be some daily, some consistency, as someone stated, some rigorous activity that you engage in to stay connected to God. Think about it. The people that you're close with, your best friends or closest family members, even if you don't see them a lot now, those relationships were built because you spent adequate time together. You were either in school together every day or you played on some teams, so you practiced with each other every day. Your sorority sisters, your frat brothers, you engage in multiple weeks where you were together day after day, night after night. And that's when relationship was built. So it is with God, that if you want to build a strong spiritual life, you want to make sure that you have some daily routine. The third thing we talk about when we talk about spiritual practices is moving your body. Now, this is a twofold because the obvious is you have to exercise. That somehow God dwells in our temples, that he uses our bodies. And as overlooked as it may be, there is a connection between your physical body and your spiritual man, right? Beloved above all things, I would have for you to prosper and be of good health, even as your soul prospers. You know what God did there in 3 John? What he did was he said that the same intention you put on your spiritual life should be the attention you place on your physical body. How are you living? What are you eating? When do you exercise? Did you take the steps or did you ride the elevator up one floor? Did you park close so you had short steps or did you park a little further back so that you could walk a little farther? That there must be something you do with your body that helps you stay connected to God. Did you notice that our God wrapped himself in flesh and came before us? You know why? Because there is some unspoken connection between exercise physically and spiritual formation. Now, got to be honest, not only do you need to exercise as a spiritual discipline, but you also want to make sure that what you do with your body is in alignment with what you read in your word. You know, are you really just reading the Bible or are you living it out? You know, are you acting and treating people the way the people were treated in what you read? Are you forgiving? That'll take a whole lot of stress off your body. What is your alcohol consumption? Is it to drunkenness or is it, maybe casual? Are you smoking so much that your body is being contaminated? I can't tell you what to do with it, nor can I tell you what you believe. But what I would ask is that you go back and make sure that your body movements are aligned with your spiritual morals. That's a discipline that you can encounter that will help draw you closer to God. The fourth is align with other like-minded souls. Who in your crew, who on your job, which of your coworkers, who in your family can you talk to about spiritual things? I mean, everybody's talking about Powerball. Everybody's, talking about Empire. Everyone's watching Scandal. Some people are watching, stories during the day. Everybody knows what's going on in CNN. You and the fellas, you always talk about the latest stats in the NFL, NBA, NBL. But who do you talk to about God? Who do you quote scripture with? Who do you not just call a prayer partner, but you actually pray with? That is a spiritual discipline. It's something that's not normal because being a Christian isn't normal. We're peculiar people. But it's something that if you add to your life will increase your ability to be spiritual and be drawn closer to God. Find some friends. Join some ministry. Be involved in your church. Don't just decide that you're going to listen to what's happening and watch what's happening, but you're going to participate. It's the difference between being a spectator and a participator. Here's the fifth and final principle. Again, I know these are basic, but I want to make sure you get them. And that fifth principle is step out of your comfort zone. It kind of goes with that last step if it means having to find a friend. But if you're going to really want to get closer to God, how is it possible for you to get close but never move? I mean, just practically, I don't want to seem too simple, but if you're standing where you are right now and there's a door somewhere near you, please tell me how you're going to get to the door without moving. I mean, even if you float, you're going to move. If you fly, you're going to move. If you fall, you're going to move. If you walk, you're going to move. So how is it that you expected to really get closer to God and not move? No. We have to move. We have to be willing to get out of our comfort zone, take a step, try something new. I know you haven't been that person, but the next time you're in church and somebody says, touch a neighbor, you're going to have to just lean over and touch them. Or maybe you're going to have to fast. That's what we're doing today. That's out of your comfort zone. Or maybe you'll have to attend an extra service. So instead of, going to happy hour on the weekends, you actually come to revival and get happy there. I don't know. I'm not sure what you need to do. You know what you need to do. But step out, try God, make the investment, spend the money, take the trip, go to the place, apply, sign up, do something that shows God that you really are trying to get closer to him. And here's what I believe, that as every good athlete practices, as every good musician practices, as every good artist who may be a movie star or Broadway actor or actress, as every politician practices their speech, every doctor has to practice medicine, every lawyer practices law, that if we have spiritual practices, then we'll start to maximize the Spirit of God that's within us. Listen, people need you. God needs you. You need him. And without him, we are nothing. But with him, there's nothing that you can't do. Jumpstart your 2016, grow forward, and engage in spiritual practices. Hope this has been helpful. Hope this is somehow encouraging you. Some of the simple things that you know already, maybe they're just reminders. But what I pray is that as we go through these first 30 days to jumpstart January 2016, that you and I together are challenged to grow up. Hope you guys have a great day. Be blessed. Again, this is the 318 Hall Street, Franklin, Virginia Sanctuary. I'm not sure where you worship, but what I am asking is that you find a place where you too can worship. Have a great day. These pews are empty now, but my prayer is that you find a seat in a pew like this somewhere this weekend where you can put into play and implement spiritual practices. There's a pew with your name on it waiting for you to be launched into ministry. Be blessed. See you Sunday.